to give myself a false sense of progression and purpose, instead of doing any of these rallies that take absolutely fucking forever, what we're instead going to do today is the short events that take literally 2 minutes. That's a plan that I came up with last week, and I think that it might be a good idea to go ahead and go through with the plan, because I like it. It's a solid plan. It makes me feel like I'm getting more done than I actually am, and it makes it so that I don't have to stretch the videos out any longer than the 15 minutes that I like having them at. So I don't know what that would mean, but I'll come up with something, don't you worry. So, have I brought anything to talk about to this recording session that is actually going to make it worth listening to? The answer, of course, is no, as it always has been, and probably always will be. But I'll manage to mumble. What do I do? I record 2 episodes, half hour? I'll be able to mumble along for half an hour to something or other, just the first thing that pops into my head. So, I finally finished Black Lagoon, and it was both seasons. I haven't watched the spin-off thing, Rosalina's Blood Trail, but, you know, I'm planning on it. In the same way that I'm planning on watching every anime under the sun. But you can only watch so many at once. And right now, the so many at once that I'm watching happen to be the original Hellsing series from 2001. Because I watched Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, and it was actually better than the original. So I thought, hey, might as well watch some more vampire shit. But instead of watching Hellsing Ultimate like everyone else, you know, the sensible thing to do, because that's a show that is not just better, that's the show that was used in the Skrillex AMV that got me introduced to anime in the first place. But I thought, fuck it, might as well watch everything in production order, like I always do. So we'll make a start on Hellsing with the TV series. In the same way, I made a start on Appleseed from the 1988 OVA and thought it was shit, quite frankly. But luckily, to be honest, I mostly thought it was shit because of the storyline where the bad guys win. So, you know, it looks like other stuff in the sort of Appleseed franchise. Each follows different stories, so I might as well go through and watch it all on the off chance that some of it's good. And, you know, if it's all, like, not good, then I can score it low and use that to keep my average score on Mal down. Speaking of Mal, I don't really like Mal as a website. I just use it as a place to keep track of all the animes that I've seen, same way that most people do, because I actually tried going through some of the articles recently. You know, something like best performing anime movies in Japan or whatever. And they seem to imply that Yuri anime is, you know, exclusively porn for, you know, fucking weirdo nerds to wank to, whereas somehow gay men is more artful and diverse and inclusive. And believe me, I hate any forms of diversity and inclusivity, because I live in England where it's forced on us. This is going to be the same track. No, it's not. Well, the same location, but different layout. I'd probably get arrested for saying that I don't like diversity. Now, is that an Eben meme? Or could it actually happen? Mostly an Eben meme, I think. But still. You know, not a fan of the gays. But we'll talk about that some other time. We're here to talk about anime right now, not the scourge of the dirty homos. In a lot of ways, there are some Muslim. I'm not going to say scholars, because Muslim scholars. That's what you're supposed to. That's what they all are, really, innit? But like TV personalities from the reaction images. Like the one that says, "If it were not for this law, if it were not for the laws of this land, I would strike you down," or whatever. And then there's the other one where they like throw shoes at each other. There's one screenshot of a guy saying, in practical terms, lesbianism isn't as bad. And, I think that's pretty true. If only they'd stick to their own land, and their religion didn't, and their religion, which is their law, didn't revolve around conquering the entire world. I think we'd probably be able to get along in some sense. But, oh well. It has to be this way. And the race war will still be fought. Hopefully. In other news, I've decided I'm probably going to kill myself before I'm 20. I'm failing really badly in school, and I have no plans and no job prospects. So, not a lot of point in going on. Might as well not bother. The other anime I'm watching, alongside Hellsing. I'm watching a 7-episode OVA series called Freedom. With character designs by my main man, Katsuhiro Otomo. Which means everyone looks exactly the same. Well, actually, his character designs in this are a little bit more varied than in Akira. Because at least the girl character has a different face from the guys. He managed to vary it up just enough. I don't know. I've seen one episode, and I already know it's going to have the same problem that I had with Rideback, where it starts out being about a bunch of like kids that want to race bikes, and then they end up having to, stop an evil government organization, or in this case, it's probably going to be rediscover that actually the Earth is hospitable and there's some conspiracy going on, or what have you. But I think I could, I think I could stomach that better than with Freedom. I think I'm probably going to be able to stomach Freedom better than Rideback, because it's like, it's not just set, 2 years in the future. It's like 300 odd years off, and they're out in space. Might as well use the alternate paint scheme. Smoke 'em if you got 'em, as they say. Oh, I say I'm failing really badly in school. They're not worried about me for exams. And I'm not worried about me for exams. Exams I'm good with. It's all the coursework and the classwork where I just don't bother. Because in past years, and by past years I mean literally every other year I've been in school, you can get by just, you do well in the exams at the end of the year, and then they're like, yep, here you go, move on, And then at the very end, they change it so that there's really long, long-form coursework to do over the entirety of the year. And, it was my own fault. And, I went into it, completely unprepared and expecting to be able to do it in the same way as I always do, which is just leave it, and then, you can do it at the end, probably. And that hasn't worked out. which no one expected it would, but oops. There you go. So now I have to go in for half hour every morning until, you know, I improve on pretty much everything and I get my teacher saying good things about me. I have to go in every morning from 8:30 till 9, starting tomorrow, which sucks because usually I wouldn't have to go in until 12:30 tomorrow. So I have to wake up and be there at 8:30, stick around till 9, you know, catching up with work and shit, and then go home again until 12:30, which is inconvenient at best. But you know, in terms of not fucking my life up completely, and to the point where I decide that the best course of action would be to kill myself before I'm 20, it might turn out to be a good thing in the long run. Who knows? Remember, kids, just don't act like me, and you'll be right. Is a big takeaway message from my entire experience with education. There we go. Seat versus Mitsubishi, a battle the likes of which has not been seen since 2004. What's Seat up to these days? Well, I mean, given what little I know about the Spanish economy, probably not a lot, but you never know. I actually like their cars. Or like, I like the Cordoba and the Ibiza. Actually, there's only one specific year model of Ibiza that I like. The rest are a bit too, you know, modern and angular and shit. I like the one from Mobile One Rally Championship 2000. Yeah, that rally game. I also like this one, obviously. Looping it back to freedom and ride back and stuff. You know, even the Fast and the Furious, where movies and shows and shit centered heavily around... Well, actually, it affects bikes worse. Because, you know, ride back and freedom. Except the bike and freedom is a tricycle. And I got a nice screenshot from the prologue where the racing rival character says Tricycles are for chumps. I got a nice screenshot of that. I can't wait to never be able to use it because literally no one will ever post the tricycle that they ride on DBT. But finally, I should probably introduce you to Vidly, a YouTube alternative that ripped off what YouTube looked like in about 2006, which is a website I'm a fan of, and I actually do have a presence of, but only with a good buddy of mine, Shamey, where we make up hit gaming duo, the Game Goys, which is a bit like the Game Grumps, except we're both Gentiles. So far, there's 2 videos up. Well, actually, there's 2 halves of one video up, where we tried to play Fortnite. And by we, I mean Shamey played Fortnite, and I was in a Skype call while he screen shared. And the game took 15 minutes to load up. And then the actual video crashes just as he's jumping out of the bus. And that's pretty much that. So if you wanna check out the Game Goys on Vidly, be my guest. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend anything. Sometimes, that's not strictly true. Sometimes I'll recommend an anime. If you're gonna watch Hellsing Ultimate. If you're gonna watch Vampire Hunter D, you can watch them both, 85 and 2000. They're both good. I think I liked 85 a bit more because it had the more, you know, the villain is a villain and he's actually properly defeated at the end. You know, not to spoil the ending of Bloodlust, which is, you know, it's a whole thematic thing. I thought it was pretty kino, but I like it more when the vampire gets the stake through the heart at the end, and you know, everyone. I do like endings where everyone dies, but endings where the heroes, you know, are actually the good guys, even if the people they're working for are a little shady, and then they move on, you know, because the bad guys got defeated. That kind of thing. I dig that. I'm a human supremacist first, and a white supremacist second. I do deserve the win. Alright, that was this week. I managed to get, what was that, 3 things, 2 ice races and a crossover. Pretty good going, I'd say. Next week... Oh, we can do the same thing, except instead of ice racing, we can do rallycross.